Welcome everybody back to another Boldcast reaction. I'm Carson.
I'm Lindsay.
And this is Heavenly Delusion, episode 1. Check out Patreon for our uncuts for the first few episodes here. We're going to be catching up. If you're watching this future, you can get the uncuts on Patreon, but we're going to be posting these day after day until the next episode comes out. So the first 4 should be available on Patreon before that comes out. We are going to watch them all probably tonight when we're recording. Anyway, check to see how many are there. We're going to be posting them there, uncut reactions. And other than that, we don't really know anything about this show. I heard about it somewhere from some recommendation before this. We just looked it up beforehand, and I remembered that the writer for Psycho-Pass, or one of the writers for Psycho-Pass, and the TV adaptation, or not even of Psycho-Pass, TV adaptation of Silent Voice, and Berserk 2016-2017, which is disconcerting, but I don't think that the problem with that show was the writing. Anyway, this person I have a lot of faith in, and yeah,
It's very highly recommended.
Highly recommended. I forget what the actual show is about though, so we'll figure that out along with you. Leave a like and subscribe. Check out Patreon to get those uncuts I was talking about earlier, however many there are, before the next episode comes out. If you can't wait to see them on YouTube, let's go. And support the official release, even if it is on Disney+. Nothing wrong with Disney+, it just doesn't seem like the place
Every
to go
show
for
this
anime.
season just decides to go on some random platform. They're like, oh, let's go to Disney Plus or High Dive, or, you know, instead of Crunchyroll where everyone else goes. Nice tomatoes. Oh, it's so nice. It's like Promised Neverland. Some shit's about to go down.
CG. Crazy low frame count CG. It is very Promised Neverland reminiscent off the bat.
It's called Heavenly Delusion. They're like in heaven, but it's all fake.
It's all a delusion.
I was just wondering why we're here. It's been watching Hell's Paradise. That fish with arms. I don't think I'm funny.
Truman Show?
Whoa. I like this music right now.
What do you want? Don't hurt me. Get out of my house. It's just like somebody's still living there.
Be pretty good, I guess.
I'm dying. What was that sub? Did you see that? Nice. I'm dying. What?
You just go from house to house and shit in everyone's like broken toilet. It can't flush.
What the hell happened?
It's in the rich area.
Mm-hmm.
Deluxe.
この野菜っぽいの何？そこら辺に生えてた草の食べられそうなやつ。
You think?
少しでも腹の足しになるかと思う。
Didn't even try it first. Just mixed in all your stuff. Just useless. How are you even alive? What are you doing out here?
They don't seem to be worried about anyone else, really.
Yeah. Did they come from one of those buildings as well, like where all those other kids are?
I don't know. Just Last of Us Anime Edition?
Very purple lightning.
And a weird, that's not a normal bird.
I mean, there was just like crazy environmental disasters, or this is some evil bird.
Maybe both?
I can't tell if it's just a really mutated weird bird or like some kind of evil creature. And maybe that kid that's like drawing a fish with arms, maybe that's actually like real in the outside now that everything's all fucked up.
Right, and he's like the weird guy who knows a little bit more than he should, like the
Or
Ray.
just like subconsciously, even.
They're superbly positive. Mm-hmm. Air Force, U.S. Air Force jacket. You're like screaming about your
all of their ass.
I mean, they have a gun. What if they just kill them all right here?
Shut up.
They got guns. She's got the Air Force jacket. What the
He
hell
has a
kind of
gun.
gun is that? Is that a ray gun?
Well, don't say that out loud, you fucking idiot.
Shit. Yeah, these are like super kids who are like
Yeah.
bred for the new world.
Oh my god.
It's a Dominator. I thought that power line was gonna snap. I thought that power line was gonna like snap and cut somebody's throat open or some shit.
Oh my god.
I don't know how violent to expect this show to be. Anything you want to take? Oh, they got drugs.
Of all the places to be living around here, why like this?
A hospital? It seems like it's pretty good. A lot of floors, a lot of good opportunity for fortification. Lots of supplies if there's any left.
天国って場所に心当たりない。なんとか天国って名前でもまるで天国って感じでもいいんだけど。
崩壊以来天国みたいな場所なんてあの世にしかねえよ。
だからハードル下げてんじゃん。
あんたら、トマト好きか？帰ってきた。
なんでくれるの？
トマト好きにとっちゃ天国と言えな聞いたことがある。
Tomatoes, like the place.
トマト好き？
Oh.
詳しく聞かせて。
You like how they're growing tomatoes.
俺
Interesting.
ありがとう。この銃の。最後の一発も出るからよかったんだよ。玉入れで。ねえ、マル。
They're really these. I feel like if this was a live action show, this would be such a dire, tense situation. But it's just so crazy
Yeah.
and like cavalier
Because they
and like
just make it so lighthearted.
Yeah.
Oh!
why
Four
you?
計算に入れない方がいい。出ないことの方が多いもん。
Oh.
そんじゃ、トマト天国を目指すか。
トマト天国って。
ああいうテストのやり方はどうかと思うよ。何か不明瞭な名前をつけて。なんでテストがあるって
Good question.
わかんない。
Somebody.
う
Oh.
まく予感がしたと。ただ一つだけ確かなことがある。テストがあると分かっていたからといって問題が解けるとは限らない。
まあ、今日の授業は終わったことだし。
Yeah, let's play some sport.
What are these subs? Is that are they just talking weird or is it? It seems like it's the subs.
君と競っても勝てるわけないんだ。
時を。
時は僕と話があるの。ね。
Aw. Let's play with that guy.
コナに相手してもらおうか。
なんだろうね。あの運動神経。さっきテスト中に外がどうとか言ってたよね。ああ、いや、あれは。
I wonder if he selected yes.
今日は外がどうなってると思う。外？
Pretty sure that's a girl, but sure.
どうと言われてるの？この壁の外。え？ここより外がある？何もないんじゃないの？あると思うよ。僕は。
Or maybe not. Maybe it is a girl. Or maybe it is a boy. I
最
can't
近
tell.
だんだん
Oh, they've been able to imagine it. Maybe that's like how that kid is drawing that stuff. They're like,
外から二人の人が僕を助けに来てくれるの。その一人の顔が
having like future visions.
時代にそっくりなんだ。
This is the heavenly delusion.
部屋の外、学校の外、外の外。
時代くん。
Oh,
園長先生。
I was wondering if we were gonna see any like adults.
いえ、ここより外ってあるんですか？
それは時代くんが考えたの？
耳姫が。
そういうところがありますからね。
園長。
いずれ知ってもらうことです。構い時代くん。ここより外はあります。
ねえ、マル。ボディーガードの僕がこんなこと言ったらびっくりしちゃうだろうけど。
もうお姉ちゃんの言うこと。
yeah, I'm not even 100% sure if these are taking place at the same time. That's my thought. I'm still not convinced.
山越えたり限界だよ。いるとこもない場所が続くなんて。
You're like the worst guide slash bodyguard of all time.
あれは嘘だろか。
町と町の間はこんなもんだよ。都会で育ったんだね。
ああ、そうさ。江戸っ子よ。
せめて寝れそうなところ探そう。
そんな体力あんの？若いから？
大して年変わんないでしょ。
15歳だっけ？
多分。お姉ちゃんは
そう、18、いや、20かな。
2年も開きがあるの。
算数苦手なんだよ。
Sounds like
forget
you're
which one's
making that up
which.
to me.
I'm just dumb, all right?
どうしてんのこれ？やってるよ。
It's like a bed and breakfast.
10、11、12。はい、確かに。
本当にそれでいいの？なんか悪いから、これどうぞ。
いいの？炭酸電池。
この宿帳見てもいいですか？
いいよ。
No rules.
電池がね、あるところにはあるんだね。
Wonder if she's looking for someone.
Her boyfriend.
来たことないです。
名前は？
稲崎ロビ
Robin.
なんな。もう一人のパンクなおじさんは？
ー。わかんない。みんな医者とか先生って呼んでたから。
Who's that girl there
それじゃあ
taking the
Both the
picture?
pictures are like folded in half.
あと場所で何か思い当たることないですか？
ま、みんなここで言うけどね。
Okay.
天国だー。ケリコちゃん。
はい。いやー、鏡が割れてるなんですよ。
おー。シャワーでいいから言う。
Is she trying to kiss her own reflection?
ボトルたくさんあるけど適当に使っていい感じに泡が出るやつがシャンプーね。
All the scavenge like shampoo bottles.
So he's got a sweet setup.
おかみさん、あのケースってもしかして銃ですか？
ああ、この辺には怪物が出るからね。
Creepy
出歩いちゃダメだよ。
crow looking thing.
キルコ、
人食いのことですか？人によって呼び方はまちまちなんですが、こう大きくてぐた形で人を食べるやつ。僕らそれ殺せますよ。
あんな銃も効かないのに。
やれますよ。なら聞きますし、この子の
キルコ
何そう。
キルコの光線だからキルコ
What does she think about this?
Yeah, okay.
だから確認したんだよ。
イノシシか何かの肉と野菜の煮たものでよかったら。
Some kind of boar meat.
Did that thing like kill her husband or something?
Or a kid. There's
Yeah.
like pictures.
Or did it like transform into her kid or something?
今もきちんと
Or her kid transform into it?
ちゃんと教育を受けている子たちだと思うから。
Again, no context for this whatsoever.
近親者同士で子供を作るというのは決まりとか気持ちの問題じゃなくて遺伝子的な根本的なところに危険があるの。
この子がお姉ちゃんって呼ぶから勘違いされたかもしれない。ここはうちに繋がってないんで。それにそもそもそういう関係ではございません。
She just assumed like a lot about their relationship.
東京で何でも屋というか便利屋みたいなことをやってて、この子の旅のボディーガード依頼を受けたんです。警護対象以上の感情はありませんから。
Friend zoned.
どうしたのマル？急に元気ないね。
I'm gonna
Pulls
go
the-
off on my own.
Pulls the futon away.
なんか怒ってんの？
No.
なんだよ。今日えらく寝つきいいじゃん。
He's literally faking being asleep. Oh, he's just moving out of the light. That's perfectly reasonable.
あれ？
Or no, she drugged them.
Oh no.
She drugged them. She's feeding people to the fucking animal. To that crazy crow thing.
Oh, is she using them as bait to try to go for it?
All the, all the toys.
ここより外ってあるんですか？
ここより外はあります。浅ましい怪物がうごめく汚れた世界。地獄。
Ugh.
That was the whole episode?
Interesting.
Wow, what'd you think of that shit?
I don't know. Definitely interesting. I kind of like that there's two different things going on because like and like I guess all that I had like I've seen like the whatever the promotional image, which is like the two of them, whatever, and like the I don't know, like in some like busted up city.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had also, and then like, so then we get started and it's like, oh, there's these kids, it's like a Promised Neverland type of deal. It's like all these kids. This show's titled Heavenly Delusion. Okay,
they all think they're safe.
They all think that they're
but
safe,
they're not.
But they're being raised for something nefarious and whatever that means. You know, it's like, oh, it's this big unknown. There was like a societal collapse, and then all these kids are trapped in here, and they're all really smart or all really good at different techniques, or one's super athletic, one can draw really good. They're all having these weird visions of the outside. What kind of does that really mean?
It's like 7 Seeds or Fallout, but good. Well, Fallout's good. 7 Seeds is ridiculous.
Okay. There's no school like this in 7 Seeds.
No, I guess there wasn't.
But yeah, then you're just like, okay, is this just gonna be a rerun with like what else are they gonna bring to it to kind of switch it up? And then I guess that's where we already seen what's outside. You know, it's not like we're in with these kids and we're completely blind and they can just bait you along with, oh, there's something outside, but they don't know what it is and they're gonna have to break out in order to find out what it is. You know? Like, we get to see from a different perspective what's out there, and there's these weird monsters, and a bunch of people died from starvation, and there's, like, no food around, and, you know, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, but then there is, like, a weird tone to it where it's very lighthearted, even though and I don't know if that's, like, how that's gonna play out in the grand scheme of things, because to me it seems like everything that's going on the outside could be a lot darker. You know, like they're like wandering around completely unconcerned. They come across these guys and they're like, "Oh good, a girl. Let's get her."
Yeah.
And it's like, that's horrifying. That's terrifying. That, like, you know, but then
she doesn't seem too bothered.
They're completely unfazed by it. And then it's kind of like this goofy encounter where they bamboozle these guys. And I feel like I don't quite know what to think about that, or like
I like it. I
like it.
It reminds me of like a Trigun style thing where it's, you know, it's not you know, we're in a post-apocalyptic world, or it's meant to be. Some of the things can be serious and it can get serious at times, but you know, it's weird. I want to say this with this as well, but it seems like with a lot of things recently, there's like a renaissance of like a 2000s anime aesthetic, and that's what this feels like to me. This really feels like starting, you know, a show from the mid 2000s, and just the way that it kind of feels, and the way that
it's starting out, like the way that they're kind of bringing you into it.
Yeah.
Sorry,
just the way that they're talking, and the way that everything's written, and the way that just everything's kind of flowing, and the structure of it, a little bit about the character designs and the visual style, and just stuff about it really reminds me of kind of that era a little bit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I've been noticing that with a lot of things. Like I mentioned that with some parts of Oshinoko and a bunch of things. Like, yeah, it seems like everything that's coming out that's like big recently has been tapping into a more classical sort of style with anime, which is cool.
Yeah, we said this with Oshinoko, and like obviously Oshinoko, with that like really long first episode, you got to get like a crazy roller coaster of an introduction to the show. But even this one, it seems like kind of a like basic idea, but they're handling it really well. You know, like the introduction of pretty much every show that we've started this season so far has been really strong. Like it hasn't felt like, oh, I'm not so sure about this one. Oh, you know, this one seems okay, or like, oh, this one seemed really good in the first episode, but it feels like it's gonna fall off. You know, it seems like, at least so far, and obviously we haven't seen what's coming after this, but like I'm excited to see what's next, and I feel like I'm not gonna just be, you know, I feel like I kind of know what to expect in terms of like the quality of the show or just the way that it's going to go. And even the encounter with those guys in the beginning is maybe setting up for, this isn't going to be like a people versus people apocalypse type situation. Like, there's like these gangs of guys out there who are preying on people, but that's not really the focus of the show. We're going to focus on these freaky monsters, and then it's all going to tie back into these kids in this school area, you know? Which, I think is kind of interesting. And I'm interested to see also like how supernatural they go with it. With these monsters, like, do we know what made them? Was it like environmental factors created these weird, or like a nuclear war that then, spawned crazy mutations? Or is it more of like a spiritual or magical thing that these creatures always existed and then came in, or they just showed up one day like out of the blue, I feel like there's a lot of mystery, and I really like the design as well of that creepy bird with the eyes and everything inside. It's like decapitated mouth, like it looks like a chopped off head and it kind of comes open. I feel like that design is really cool and kind of unnerving and just different from what we've seen lately, like we in Jujutsu, or what's the other show that I'm thinking of?
Chainsaw Man.
And Jujutsu and Chainsaw Man and Hell's Paradise and stuff, they all kind of have, because they're supposed to be like spirits or curses or whatever they are, they all kind of have similar looks or designs, or they're all very different from each other, but they all kind of have like a specific look to them. This feels very different and more, I don't
sci-fi.
know. Like creepier, like more, and or more fantasy, even like a,
like Western fantasy style.
Or like just like horror, like
because a lot of the designs in all the other big shonen-y type things like Chainsaw Man or Jujutsu or Demon Slayer or whatever, all the like demon designs are kind of based on oftentimes Buddhist or Chinese or Shinto sort of mythology and creatures and stuff like that. And it's like us, if you read a Western fantasy, they always make like a troll or a dragon or a goblin or some shit. Or some form of something that relates back to a Western myth or something. It's the same thing in the East. They do with their own myths. But when you get into more like sci-fi stuff like this, there's kind of a burden to be more creative, because it's not all about, it's further from a fairy tale. Although with the themes in this, it's, anything with a wall, with kids in a wall, it's like a coming of age story is what they're setting up for. It's, you grow up in this walled sort of bubble, and you're separated from the outside world, and then to graduate or grow up, it's like where do you go with your graduate? You get thrown to the fucking monsters on the outside or wherever, or they're being maybe it's a classism type theme or narrative and stuff like that, where they're all being bred to like lead the unwashed masses or something like that. They're like all being created to like go out and fix the world or something like that. But either way, there's this sort of growing up and I don't know, responsibility is like a big sort of theme when you're talking about like these, growing children in this walled world where they have like the utmost education, everything like that, and this stark contrast and stuff. It's kind of a setup for stuff like that, but I'm interested to see how it evolves, if it will be like a Promised Neverland type thing where like, you're just being raised to just be devoured by the system, and you don't actually have a chance to go out and like choose your own destiny. You just like grow up in this world that was created for you, and then do what they say, and die, or become a part of the system and aid the system to like mulch down a bunch of people just like you. If it's going to be that kind of a theme, or if these people are like creating the world on the outside and they're creating the monsters, possibly. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot of mysteries thrown out there at the beginning, and there's a lot of ways the themes could go. But it'll be interesting to see. And I do really like the theme, or not the theme, the tone difference. How it's not, again, that really adds to like the 2000s kind of flippant, ridiculous slapstick comedy type thing. I will say, like a lot of 2000 shows, the animation in this, it's not a spectacle. The animation, as far as like, he's usually, I'm not saying that to complain. It's just that usually in the first episode, they throw like a big portion of the budget. And it's what I call first episode syndrome, where, the premiere is the hook, and they want to hook you in the premiere, so they get the crazy animation there, and then somewhere around episode 7 or 8, the animation just takes a dive, either for the rest of the show or just a few episodes to save on the budget to put in these first episodes. And if they don't do that, like they did in this show, where the animation in the first episode is not so crazy, usually that can either mean they have budgeted everything consistently and they expect people to watch consistently throughout, and they aren't trying to like hook you with crazy animation in the beginning. They're trusting that if you're going to invest time in it, you'll keep investing time. If there's not an explosive like Sakuga scene or something like that, so they don't have to spend all the budget and all the time on this one thing, which is smart. It's a tactic. Or they just don't have the budget, and this was their first episode syndrome attempt, and then the animation is going to go downhill from here on out, and it'll still happen where the animation will take a shit, but it will probably take a larger shit as we go along. But only time will tell. It's always a gamble, and why you can never really tell with the whole first episode syndrome thing, whether it's a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. I had something else to say, too, that I was thinking about, of, what was it? Oh, yeah, I don't really know what to make of whatever they call the director, they're all like, oh, no, don't tell him. And it's just like, yes, there is an outside to the outside. And it's a very ominous situation, but I feel like it could go, they're like, oh, well, just tell him anyway. And it's like, I'm not sure what to make of this. And I guess in next episode, when we see what happens after they've let this information out, will kind of be a big tell, because maybe this place is evil and they're trying to like shelter everyone, or maybe they're really trying to do good for the world and they're just acknowledging, you wanna know what, they're starting to figure it out and we better tell them before they do something sneaky, because we really need whatever this project is. Like, we need these kids to trust us and like keep doing what we're trying to ask them to do.
Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see that. And again, I'm not 100% convinced that these are happening at the same time. I still think there's a possibility this is happening before the world actually fell apart, and this old lady is just saying that it is, like that outside, when it's actually not. And this is like, we're watching them in here is like a prequel to everything falling apart, and these people are responsible, maybe, or it is happening at the same time, or one's happening way before or way later or something.
The only thing that I think about is because they're growing tomatoes, and then they keep mentioning tomatoes, and then also that the girl in this, when she was talking, she was like, I had this dream, and there was like 2 people, and they came here to save us, or whatever. So that makes me think that these are kind of happening at the same time, and then when they get there...
Well, she said they helped me, or they were trying to help me, or something
can we rewatch that part? If we can find it.
Which to me makes me think, the wording of that makes me think more that it's a future memory. Yeah, who's sending, they aren't sending the messages right now where we're at. So these have to be taking place at a different time period. Either this is like way before, or that's way before them, or something. Like, it could be a year difference, or it could be 50 years, it could be 100 years. These people in this little city, this could be, or in this little school, this could be like way, and it's all misdirection, because the only thing that we know about the outside of their world in this school is what we're being told by the director and what they're imagining and getting these messages and shit. We don't actually know, and it could just be what it is, and it could be there at the same time, or it could be this is all of this stuff is set up for a big reveal where like, oh shit, I thought it was at the same time. Turns out this is like 1,000 years later, and it's like there's literally nothing outside. Like, who knows? And again, with a thing like this where it's all enclosed and all mysterious, they set the rules, and then the setup is so like in control, and it's all about the information that you let out in a mystery like this. It's like you can be fucking anything, and we don't know the rules of the monsters. We don't know the rules of like how this all happened. It's all a complete mystery. So there could be magical girls. There could be, there could be literal Godzilla. There could be fucking, there could be like Goku or deleting planets and galaxies from existence and shit. Like we have no idea what is causing this, or the eventuality of whatever caused this situation.
Yeah, and
it's completely up to wherever the author wants to take it, and it gives you a lot of ammunition for theory crafting.
And then also we have and one of them had a face exactly like yours, whatever that means.
Could be you.
Could be you. Could be. And I'm wondering as well, where did they get these children?
I was thinking maybe the bird like stole that lady's kid and took it to the school.
That would be freaky.
And they steal children, wipe their memory, and then turn them into whatever they want them to be.
That would be crazy. I was more thinking like that they are like test tube babies, or because like what if supposedly a large portion of the population died, then this person has a face exactly like yours. Like, what if they had all these different facilities and they had a bunch of children that were like genetically the same in each, like you had like different like models of these kids that were like different traits were added for different abilities, and they all have like similar.
Maybe they're not even fully human. Maybe they're like synthetic creatures. Like they're synthetic humans. Like they're not just test tube babies, but like androids, or they have like, I don't know, carbon fiber bones or some shit. Like they're all being. Maybe it's like a Matrix thing of like, you could remove all of the difficulty of being a human and just make robots, but or I'm drawing a weird parallel here, but like in the Matrix, it's like people in the Matrix. The whole point of the Matrix is these robots took over humanity, or maybe they're aliens. I forget. I'm pretty sure they're just robots. Like artificial intelligence went crazy, and then they farm like human brain power, and everybody's like jacked into the Matrix, and the robots created the Matrix because.
I thought we were gonna watch this one day for reaction. Are you spoiling the whole thing?
No, I'm spoiling the premise.
Okay.
Kind of. I mean, I guess I could not say it.
No, I'm sorry. I didn't want to stop.
It doesn't matter. Anyway, it could be something like that. For anybody who knows, you probably understand what I'm getting at there.
Yeah, there's something definitely with this lady's kid and the bird, though. And I don't know if she was gonna use them as bait, or she was just knocking them out because she cares about them, and I don't know.
I doubt it. I think that this whole situation is a ruse. I bet. Why is she taking money? I mean, maybe money's still used, but like, there's like those guys, I don't know. I guess it's hard to tell, because the only example of like human interaction we've seen on the outside is those guys who tried to rob them and rape them, and then the kind lady who accepted their money and batteries for, conventional, modern, civilized behavior.
Yeah, it does seem that weird that money would be used, but the fact that she had money, this girl, leads me to believe that they must still use it, because she wouldn't carry it if it wasn't still the accepted currency. That's what makes me think that, because I think if she is like of the modern generation that wouldn't have even known what money was post society collapse if it wasn't still used. So, but then who's this lady buying stuff from if she's in the middle of nowhere at this inn?
I don't know. Maybe that's a question we're not supposed to ask, but it seems like it is. It seems like that's a world building thing. But there's only one way to find out, and that's to watch episode 2. Leave a like and subscribe. What will these mysteries reveal? What is going on? Find out next time with us. Or watch us find out next time. Because you already know. That's the whole point of these videos.
そういうスペースも考えようによっては外だ。耳姫はなんで外に行きたがってるんだろう。時代は耳姫が好きなの？ そりゃま
I don't.
あ大丈夫
Does he have like leukemia or something?
そろそろ部屋に戻る送るお掃除で帰るから心配いらない
Interesting. Interesting that there is a sick child.
Interesting there's like 9-year-old lesbians.
Everyone's trying to kiss everyone in this show. A girl's trying to kiss herself.
いいですよ先生
Jesus.
なんでだ僕がもらう絵は僕がもらう約束してたんだずるいと時は僕もコナンの絵が好きなんだもん
There's all the drawings in like above the bed.
そうだごめんククしょい何この扱いはあげちゃったのさ約束してたじゃないか
今度は時雄のために描く。
本当僕はコナが想像するものが好きだ時雄は泣き虫だなククに絵を取られたくらいで
耳姫からメール
Huh? Oh. What?
Why?
Majora's Mask? We got an angel's egg. We got a Majora's Mask. We got like 4 people sharing a brain. It's gonna be that bloodworm face. What the hell? He's on drugs. I can't tell if she's actually using them as bait or feeding them
They're
to
all
it.
locked
Or
in. Maybe she didn't want them to try to go after it because they were like, "Oh, we're gonna go after it,"
僕らは眠らされてたんだ
and she's out there going after it, even though she knows that nothing
She's
will
dead.
work.
あんたたち危ないから中にい
Yeah,
なさい
she's trying to protect them.
そいつこ
Just make sure it's not on the house for that.
It's fast. Okay, get inside, lady.
Shit.
Jump scare incoming. Was there always this letterbox?
No, I don't think so.
コロナだけ
Whoa!
It's a Twilight. From Twilight Princess. It's like one of those things from Twilight Princess.
いや、これ鳴き声じゃない。
むちみ回してる音だ
Rip Van.
How did you see that? Okay, how about you just shoot the thing? Like,
Can't
is
get
it-
close.
This is on fire now. You can see it a little bit better.
Here's the first episode syndrome Sakuga was talking about.
片腕とついでに羽にもできた
天才
こいつの射程の方が少し長い
Oh, the gun has a pretty short range, I guess,
も
then.
う一本そしたらマル君いけるでしょ
And him go after it.
距離を誤ると腕がなくなるから気を
なるべく考えたくなかったのに
And draw it away.
It's like a giant chicken. What? Lady. You stupid woman.
Oh,
I
you were
called
right.
it! I called that shit!
食われたのか
違うユウトはあの中に入ってあれがユウトになったんだ
か人食いを食われるために僕らは眠ら
Called that shit. Big Brain Carson.
僕が食われかけたことがあるからわかるあいつは獲物を粉々に分解して吸収する死体になれるとは思えない
でもあれはユウトなの守ってくれてる 二段棒しようとした奴らから助
Then
け
why did she pull out the gun?
わかりました。
お姉ちゃん。
どっちにしても戦う手段がないし、危険がないなら殺す必要もないか。
言うとこの人たちも
He's just gonna eat her.
Yeah.
私は大丈夫だから。
意思疎通できてる。
ほらね。
No. No.
気づいたか。あの無知、一方向にしか触れないんだ。つまり
She's hardcore.
隙ができ
あんた、人が目の前で殺されてんのに。
そうしないと生きていけないんだよ。
ごめん。
Why does he need to get in close? He keeps talking about getting in close.
Super badass. Oh.
Now you know it's range. He's insane.
Does he have some sort of power?
He's hacking it. He's hacking it. That's what the shit is.
Whoa.
He's hacking its cells.
Ew. You're so right about this. You've never been more right about a show in your life.
I've been more right about Naruto. But I saw it before.
生かしておいたのかもしれない。
It wants to keep her. It wanted to keep her around.
ここに曲を食わせてい
Yeah,
たから。
she definitely did.
真相は闇の中でいい。ただでさえ大変な案件を抱えてんだ。
She leaves the batteries.
なんて。おう、電池。持ってく？
あれはおかみさんにあげたものだろ。
なんだよやめろよ。
I love this shit. I love this shit already.
乗ったことあるの？
3歳だった。
We're getting spoiled.
3
with
during the
show.
Great Disaster.
船出にはもってこいだ。
Whoa. Crazy flood.
よし。
Do they store stuff there?
She put like something down there that they can float on.
Did she paint it?
Did she name it? Is it like her name and then like a raft or boat or something?
Oh, maybe.
Because she named the
But she
gun
calls
after-
him Maru.
Oh.
And it was like Kiruko Maru. Have you heard his name? Have you heard her name? Is that what her name is? I keep
Yeah, the
forgetting.
gun would start with a K and he's like, oh, you named it after yourself. No idea.
知らん。
おい！俺が殺せるのはヒルコだけだから。ワニがわーっと来たらお姉ちゃんが何とかしないと。
So you can only kill those types of
何
things.
か考える。
ボディーガードだろ。
So he's like Ellie. He's got like magic powers.
Yeah.
And she's like Air Force
Which I wonder
trained.
if he is like special kid raised in a place that he's genetically modified, like you were saying.
Oh, because if that was her older brother, not her boyfriend, his name was Robin, which is not a Japanese name. Maybe she's mixed and they're from the States, and that's why she's got the Air Force jacket. It was his jacket.
Or could still be her boyfriend or friend or
Possibly.
whatever.
この向こうが外。ボールがそこに入ってしまって。取ってください。
Oh, they like can't cross that line.
Slices the head in half.
お、あったあった。
What is that?
よし、くっつけ。
危ないって。
I'm trying to climb up the.
俺がさ、力が出るのか実験するんだ。
Okay, well, you can jump from like multiple stories, so if he falls, he'll probably survive. Probably.
それでは大実験開始。お、お。
あんなところまで行っちゃった。
うわ、お、ちょ。
Ah. Good thing he's exceptionally strong.
なんで白が血出てんの？どうしたの？まだ何か落ちてきそうな。
Got this feeling something else is gonna
ここ
fall.
が天国なら
これその筒の中に薬と注射器が入ってる。俺と同じ顔をしたやつがどこかにもう一人いる。
Hmm.
そいつを見つけたらこの薬を打つように言われてた。
In the school.
Yeah.
天国には俺と同じ
But
顔
I
の
wonder
や
what
つ
the
がいる。
drug does.
打つとどうなる？
さあ病気が治るとか。とにかく俺が行けばみんなが助かるかもしれないんだって。それ以外は特に知らされてないな。
Who told you that?
Yeah.
お姉ちゃんは何も聞いてないの？
She.
最後にミクラさんと一緒にいたお姉ちゃんでしょ。
Mikura.
めくって
Says
The same thing.
守って分かったどこまで連れて行けばいい？
And the same looking person. This is the future, right?
僕も
Or a similar
天国へ連れて行く
disease.
としか。何してるのあんた？こんにちは。
盗賊の類ではなさそうだな。
この辺りの人？いや東京の方からずーっと
で偶然ここへ？
一応場所は教わってきました。どこだと
じゃあ知ってて来たんだね。
重希望ですか？場合によってはこの子がとにかく園長のところへ連れてってあげて。
こっちだ。入ってきな。
We're cannibals. We'll use your bodies to fertilize our land. Can't get good fertilizer out here.
できたんだね。
Got pesticides?
苦労しましたよ。
家ワニとか。
Well, you didn't see them.
彼が予想よ。
It must have been crocs in like the Tokyo Zoo or some shit. I don't know.
こっちは妻の。
Because I don't think there's native crocs there. Maybe I'm wrong.
ついて生きていくとか、できもしない復興を夢見るとか、嫌になっちゃった人たちがね、自然の中で実ったものだけをいただくシンプルな
Seems good to me.
最初は父たちと数人の畑作りだった。いつの間にか大所帯になりました。
いいですね。
トマトの天国だって聞こえることで合ってます？
We don't even grow tomatoes.
以前はトマトです。
Hmm.
今は土地に適していろいろ取れますよ。
I thought they were growing weed. They got all this weed everywhere. They're like drying it in that living room, and I think there was a plant behind her, or the leaves look similar.
Yeah, something feels off.
Laced. Those
Just
aren't
quit eating.
those aren't
food.
normal mushrooms. These guys are tripping out.
ここにはいないんだろうな。なやつ。
そうか、そういう探し。
おいおい、今まで見落としてるんじゃないだろうな。
お、顔。あんた竹早キリコさんだよな。
あ、
人力車レースの。
いや、人違いです。
俺大ファンだったんだよ。ほら。
Was she like a crazy like NASCAR driver or some shit?
At 3,
急にいなくなって。
And she's lying about her age.
5
レー
years.
ス中に弟引き殺して噂もあったんだ。
おい、全然似てない。
It's her mom, maybe?
似てるかも。別人だって。
いやでも
人違いだっつってだ。
失礼。
You don't mean to be a dick, like he wasn't trying to be mean.
これだ。お姉ちゃん、見覚えない？
あるようなないよな。
わかった。ここだ。
その下半身をまさぐるのではない。
これだよ。
どこから来たの？
東京と船が行き来して
Very
てさ、
mysterious.
野菜出荷したりいろいろあるから、いろんなところから行ったり来たりするんだよ。
船で東京とつながってんの多いな。
There's so much going on. Like,
I
it's hard to
know.
take this all in
何か繋がってこないかな。
in a good way.
これの正体はわかるかもな。天国という場所に心当たりは？
そりゃここ。
ここ以外で。
竹早キリコちゃんがいた頃の浅草かな。
ありがとう、お兄さん。握手握手。もう少し聞き込みしてダメだった。船に乗せてもらって東京に戻ろう。思ってたより日本は広かった。このまま探してても永久に天国
Yeah,
は
just wandering around.
また戻るのは尺だが、君の素性を探る方が天国への近道だ。あった
And they're just heading back.
元気ない酔った？
天国はもういいよ。見つかる気もしないし。俺と畑で暮らしたい。
僕はやだよあんな。昼は畑を耕して、夜は大麻吸って騒いで、ナッパラパンの集まりじゃねえか。
そうじゃなくて、なんならお姉ちゃんの便利屋を手伝ってもいい。お姉ちゃんが好きだ。
Confession.
君、こんな逃げ場のないところのために良くないぞ。
真面目に言ってるんだ。真面目に答えろよ。
Don't call me sis while you're confessing to me, you fucking weirdo.
ごめんなさい。
ありがとね。僕も真面目に話すから聞いて。
I like how chill they're both being about what just
真
happened.
面目に言ってるんだからそこは分かってほしい。僕この体は女なんだけど、こっちのつまり脳みそが男なんだ。だから僕男なんだ。
は？
Ending time.
And then
So, trans character in the
I
show.
wish that I knew their names. Can we find their names? Because I don't know either of their names.
I feel like Googling it would spoil it. And let me just go to the bathroom first, 1 second. You can look around while I go to the bathroom. Did you find their names?
No. Maybe in the confession part?
I just want to see this person's name because of their possible connection to the other person who died. Mimi Hime.
That's the name of
Yeah, the creepy looking girl. Tokyo is the person who looks like Maru. So I say person because now that there's gay and trans stuff going on in here, I don't know if they're saying Tokyo-kun, but sometimes they refer to girls with kun. Usually it's chan for girls, but I don't know. So since this is now a thing, I'm just gonna go with person from now on because they have a very feminine face, but they're kind of referred to as a more masculine type figure. But they're clearly, if this person is a man, then they're gay as hell by the looks of things. So yeah, so it's also, if it were live action, it would be easier to tell these kinds of things, obviously. But because it's anime, you never 100% know until they say it. So anyway, we'll tread as carefully as we can, but if we get something wrong, it's not because we're pieces of shit. It's just because there's a lot to figure out with this show, and we're just trying to
information overload.
Yeah, it's not because we're like trying to, I don't know, we're trying to be disrespectful or something. There's a lot to think about with this show. But Maru seems like a classic guy type dude, and has like and people have like alter egos, or like souls are linked. It's maybe having to do with that drawing of the two people in the egg, and the egg has like multiple wings, like an angel, like a biblically accurate angel, and that drawing that Kona was doing. So maybe, I don't know how in the community this author is, or how studied they are about like trans stuff, but there is such thing as like two-spirited. Maybe it's like the reverse of that, where it's two-bodied, and like this like angel or spirit is in possession of two people in that drawing, if we're getting into like image analysis.
I'm wondering about, like, I don't know, there's a lot of stuff going on. First of all, can we go through just from the start? I feel like the easiest way is just to go from the start of the episode to the end of it, because we see a sick child in this place.
Do we get a name for this person? We did not.
Which is interesting to me, because typically in a factory farming of children situation, you would just kill or get rid of any weak links. Like if there's a sick child, they're useless. They're not going to further humanity in your, like, whatever their goal is. Usually in a situation like this, they'd be trying to like repopulate the world or like make it a better place or like get society
Some
back.
like eugenics shit. This wouldn't fly.
So that's what, and also everyone found out kind of about the outside, and like nothing bad happened. So it makes me even more intrigued. Like I feel like every time we learn something about this place, it makes me more intrigued of what the purpose is.
Yeah.
You know, they have all these crazy robots. They have everything. They're not just like killing off weak links. The kids are like expressing interest in different things, and like some of them are super athletic and some of them are artsy, and this guy, you know, building robots and stuff. So it's really interesting to think about. But then that girl has the dream of wanting to, or like, oh, they save us, like the word save, or I think it was save or rescue or something. Like it was like, oh, and they
I think it was just help.
Oh, and they help us, which I guess could be either way. It doesn't mean, I guess I was thinking
the subs are bad
save.
with this anyway, so it could be
But
save.
yeah, it's interesting because then it makes it seem like they need help, and maybe the help is that special drug in the needle that is going to like awaken something or change something. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I'm beginning to think that this is the past. I don't know, but I'm beginning to think that the facility here is the past. And if they ever do get to this place, it will be destroyed or gone or empty or something.
But then why are they looking for someone with the same face?
Maybe they got kicked out. Maybe Maru here got kicked out and lost their sense of self, and it's the same person. Because the Tokyo in the facility is younger. And by the way, it might be different spelling, and again, we're not seeing like the actual Japanese spelling of it, but Tokyo means time, like that. So I don't know if that's significant.
There's like time. Yeah, it's with something like this, it's hard to tell how many aspects they're going to add in.
Yeah.
With something like this, because it tends to be the more you add, the messier it gets. If you're adding like these crazy creatures, then you're making it like more sci-fi leaning rather than just horror or like monsters. There, like a creature that can be tapped into in a way, like when he touched it and it, you know, went all like. Mm-hmm. So that's interesting. And then it's like, okay, are they man-made? What, you know? And then we still don't know what these kids are in this facility for. So we don't really know what.
Yeah, because they're learning math and art and tech and like robotics and shit. Like none of them's picked up a gun and was like, you know, in the firing range or something, or learning kung fu or some crazy shit.
None of that's what I'm saying. Like they're all, for the most part, seem to be normal and free to explore any interests that they might have in any way that is, whether it's being a fool and, you know, climbing up the side of this thing or whatever it is. And like they're sending nudes and like making out in the forest, and no one's stopping them. They're just free to like do whatever they want in any way. And there's cameras around, we saw, and like
it seems like they're really trying to observe, like they're not intervening in anything.
So I wonder if it is that they're just trying to make a safe environment, and like if there's not really anything evil going on, if it's more like they just want like productive but well-adjusted and happy people for the next generation.
I guess that would depend on the outlook of the author, because I don't know how much of this, I mean, some of it seems pretty harmless, I guess, but like it does seem like if you were trying to create like the ideal people, all of these, I don't know, I guess maybe there's nothing wrong with being a little bit sexual. It's part of development, I suppose, but like I don't know, it seems like if there was like this, and I'm not even necessarily disagreeing, I'm just kind of exploring this thought. It's just like if there was this effort to like craft the perfect thing, then there would be more crafting. If there is that, or it's not very explicit, they're kind of just letting things happen, which makes me think it's more of an observational type thing.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is also why they might leave the dying kid alive.
I guess, yeah, they could be an observation and they're, studying them for some reason, or it could be that they are trying to not intervene with them because they know that I don't know, maybe they've read before, or in this reality all dystopian fiction existed, and they realized maybe playing into that wouldn't be a good idea because it always backfires and fucks up, and society collapses again anyway when you're raising children. Oh, I'm gonna raise you in this very specific manner. If they are maybe specifically trying to not do that, still leave them in a controlled environment, but still let them be as normal as they can possibly be in this world that is destroyed and there are these monstrous creatures around.
It seems like if they were hyper focused on we need to create the perfect world, or I don't know, repopulate the world, they wouldn't allow all this gayness to be going on. They would be cracking down on that. But they seem pretty cool with that, which also makes me think that the obvious thing of a repopulation
effort,
it seems like that's not the main goal here.
Unless, I was theorizing before, they have really developed a test tube baby type thing.
Maybe they're all genderless,
or they just all are all people can be created and mixed and matched, so you don't need to rely on people having any type of romantic interactions in order to create more children, because you could just make them.
Yeah, I always find it weird when this is a thing in Fallout as well. Is in Fallout 4, it's synths are a thing. It's it's very much kind of the thing that's kind of being set up here, where there's the Institute and you hear all about it and you're like, what the hell? And then you find out that they're replacing people in the wasteland. They'll take somebody, copy them entirely, and then make an artificial version of them that they can program, and then they can use them to surveil or act out something. So they replace the mayor of this town, and they body snatch them and they just take them, kill them, take their DNA, replicate them perfectly. You cannot tell unless you kill them, and you can loot a synth component off their body. But it's this underground thing where they can make people, but they're not really people. So you can't repopulate the world with them. But in this case, if they can do perfect test tube babies or whatever, then I don't know, maybe that's what they're doing here. Maybe they're all artificial and and then they release him. And that's why he doesn't know who he is, because the memory was wiped. And there's these dreams of the future past or some shit.
Or they're clone, one of them is a clone of the other one. I think a part of the trick.
Oh, clone, yeah.
Right. If it's they have the same face as you, and all the kids that are in this place are just clones of real kids that were alive pre-collapse, or at the collapse, because I don't know. It's I guess.
And then maybe the person with leukemia at the beginning, or whatever that was, got out of there and then was saying, you need to find your other half. And then we see them wherever that was when they were talking about them dying. Or maybe it's just they're also if they're also a clone, then they might have had a better mind connection to their other person. If it's clones or I don't know. It seems like it's probably clones, the more I think about it.
But then what's, I don't know. It's still, I just feel there's so many unknown, there's so many unknowns that it's just how can you, it's hard to theorize when you're I don't know what anyone wants. I don't know anyone's backstory. I don't know what happened. I don't know what what is this facility the only larger form of government or authority in this world? Because we've seen people just have a giant farm and they've just been chilling there for a long time. They have ships that will take them to Tokyo and trade, and no one's stopping them. No, there's no military force that's you need to give us your crops for the good of humanity, or
Speaking
this
of
or
Fallout,
that.
There's no NCR trying to tax everybody.
It seems to be,
or maybe there is.
In terms of thus far from what we've seen, it seems to be really chill. a chill world of an apocalypse, you know what I mean? Like everyone's just kind of doing their own thing, making the best of them, which then brings in like who made this facility and why, when people are kind of just chilling.
And when.
And good
when.
question, when?
Because like if this is the same person that we saw in there when they were in the wheelchair, did they get out? If they did, how? If they did, then why did they remember who they were if the other person got out? But maybe they didn't. Maybe there is like this clone situation.
I'm really leaning towards clones. And that would make sense with your observation theory that they're just watching them.
And maybe that's where the gender comes in. Like you said, like maybe they have genetic manipulation in there and they can, you know, fuck with like maybe that's why she feels like in her head, or I don't even know. She's been going by, well, I guess they go by names. Kiriko? Is that her name?
I'm not sure.
Their name? Fuck. Because they just dropped that whole thing that they were a man at the end. But they feel like they're a man on the inside. So if it is clones, they clone maybe their genetic material comes from a man that they cloned and then turned them into a woman. But that's why on the inside they still feel like a man.
Yeah, that's what I was interested in as well. Because either he's trans and that's just like how it is, or there is like some sort of body swapping other craziness going on, and that could explain the mirror kissing thing if it's just like he feels like a man that's attracted to women but is in like just a woman's body, like just a normal pretty woman, you know?
Right, so like when
a
guy body swaps with a girl and then they're just like, whoa, what's going on here? Whoa, that's what that scene was?
Yeah, but then I guess it is still interesting if that they've just had the same body forever, then like that you would even, like, I don't know. It's still, the scene's still kind of weird unless there is, I don't know what to think about it because there's so much.
One thing I'll say, regardless of the explanation, I do like a lot of times, and this I don't know, with trans stuff and LGBT representation, or any kind of representation, a lot of people complain that it feels kind of forced. A lot of people who complain are just kind of dumb. But a lot of times when there's like an effort, like we need to have this character and this person represented and this group represented, it can feel a little bit like, okay, we check this box, and so much of a story or a production or whatever is spent checking these boxes instead of telling an actual story, and that's where it can feel kind of dumb. So you kind of have to look at a case-by-case basis whether people are being unreasonable and complaining about bullshit, or whether it's just like this weird, like, you know, merging of all these different things, and it's just trying to pat each other, every different group on the back, instead of actually trying to tell a story. It's hard to do representation right, is basically what I'm saying. Because sometimes it can feel forced and it doesn't feel authentic. And and I always talk about in like sci-fi or in fiction in general, there's like missed opportunities to like make the gender identity or make that like a plot point, or make it like, not that it needs to be explained, like people can just be whatever they are, but like making that a part of the system of your world, or like a question of identity, and making it a point in the story and giving it a sort of a world explanation, or a world like mystery.
The way that people explore different things through fiction because it's fiction.
Yeah.
Like if
like not that in real life you need to be, you know, trans for a reason, but like if you're going to do it in a story, there's like an opportunity to, like, if you want to explore gender identity or explore identity in general and using gender as like a path of that, than like having a thing of like, oh, I was cloned or I was switched bodies. Like I always talk about in Ghost in the Shell, there's, it always struck me in Ghost in the Shell, when you meet the puppet master in the movie, in the 1996 movie, which is one of my favorite movies ever. I didn't really know anything about trans stuff or anything, but just like the striking sort of moment where there's this mannequin body of like this woman with like long blonde hair, dead eyes because it's like an android, and it looks, and then the main character, hears their voice in her head, and it's like this deep male voice, and it's just such a crazy image. And the whole movie is about exploring identity of like, who am I? If my entire body is mechanical and I was created, and my body was created in a lab, but my brain is human, then am I really even a woman? Am I even a human at this point? If I'm just a brain floating in like this mannequin, essentially. If it's just really if it's complicated enough, does it then become the same as human? Is there really a difference? Does any of these labels
even
matter?
if you're questioning these, like?
But if you don't have like an origin, so much of our identity is tied up in our body that like if you remove that, then what even are you? And you know, how much of what you present to the world is what you are? And those questions, that was the first time I really thought about stuff like that. I was watching Ghost in the Shell, and that's why I love it. And it's a similar thing. It doesn't go necessarily into trans stuff exactly, but it explores all the same ideas about like, you know, just the image of having this like female figure have this like telepathic male voice. And they're talking about how they actually don't have a gender and they just were birthed from the internet. All of this information kind of swirling together. Eventually they just became awake. And because all the information to create AI and all the information of all of human history was just kind of in one place, it kind of overlapped, and then out of that came this consciousness but it's just as sentient as a person. You know, these are all pretty boilerplate sci-fi things at this point, but you know, just exploring things in that way, making all of these issues of identity a point in the story, it makes it way more interesting, and it makes me want to understand it. I think it makes a lot of people want to understand it, rather than making it this social thing that like it feels like people are getting preached to. Making it in your story is a good way to have the representation and explore these ideas and possibly like have people understand them. We don't know exactly how much they're going to do that in this, but it seems like it is something. There's like a lot of gay shit this episode in general, and then there's like, you know, actual trans sort of thoughts, I guess, or feelings or issues of identity, and I don't know. It's just cool. I like it. I like this stuff. I like when it's made a part of the story and not just like, oh, this person, I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. It's cool. I like it. And I'm interested to see more about her, how much more, like, because if this is, there's a lot of coming of age stuff and questions of identity and growing up, and they're showing this picture and it's like, oh, that's not her, but it looks exactly like her, he, them. And I don't know, it's just, it's confusing and it's difficult to understand, just like all of this stuff is in real life for a lot of people. And it's complicated. It's not so simple. It's because a lot of what makes everything so simple and why people get mad about stuff like this is because, you know, we grow up learning just, it is what it is. It's just, you're either this or you're that. And if, you know, as soon as you start asking questions, people just kind of are like, why are you complicating this like simple thing? But it's not a bad thing for things to be complicated and for people to ask these questions. And I like that. And it's also really uncommon for anime to get into these type of discussion as well, because Japan is so much more conservative about this type of stuff.
Yeah, I am really interested to see how, in what direction this goes. If it's just like, oh, that like, this is just like a very diverse cast in this show, and like that's cool too, like, you know, whatever. Or if there's like, if they kind of explore that in a metaphorical way through this fictional sci-fi world, and like explore the feelings that would come along with being in that situation, you know what I mean? Yeah. In this world where like people don't know who they are, and there's crazy stuff, and no one knows their backstory or where they came from or what anything even means.
It's really cool. And it makes it so much more intriguing. It's like something that I would never expect to be explored.
It's intriguing as well with, and I'm just thinking about this now, the group of like middle-aged men that they saw in the first episode, and they were like, oh, kids these days, they're so... they literally said, like, they're like, oh, the new generation, they're so crazy. They don't even they value bullets more than our lives. It's like, if that kind of plays into it of just like...
Well,
if people are just allowed to be who they want to be, then it's like not as crazy. You know what I mean? Or like it's not a problem. Like in this school, it's like it doesn't seem to be a there's
no bigotry there. Like none of the other kids are like making
just
fun of them.
See it and they're just like, oh, and then they laugh and run away, and it's like, cool.
Not a lot of shame.
Not
there.
a problem. You know.
Also funny.
And they're not hiding. They're not like skulking around and like being like, oh no, this is bad. No one should see this, because in their little society that they have, it's not bad. They just figured out for themselves that that's what they wanted, and then they did it. And they like, you know what I mean? Like it's I don't know. It's interesting to think about.
When they pulled the gun in the first episode, and then Maru's like, a couple of ladies.
Yeah.
I'm a boy. Oh, and then she goes,
I'm a boy too.
You can't fool
I meant
me.
to bring that up as well, but then that's interesting too, because it's like that was the truth. But then it just seemed like and that's also what's interesting. In the first episode, there was so much setup for this reveal, but it was just like jokes or like weird scenes that didn't make any sense. And then with the context, it's just like, inside I'm a man. Oh, okay, then that makes sense in the first episode when it's like I'm a guy too.
Yeah.
And then like the mirror situation and everything with that, then it all kind of makes sense. So
it all kind of comes together.
It's really planned out as well, which is kind of nice, you know.
A lot of really complicated, really interesting shit. It's cool to get like there's a big spread this season with like different stuff. It's like there's a very serious adult drama in like Vinland Saga that's still going on. Then we got like the big bombastic shonen fest that is Demon Slayer, and that's like the best season for me so far, personally. And then we get Hell's Paradise, which is like also that kind of shonen vibe, but trying to do something different, and there's a little bit more to think about there. And then there's Oshinoko, which is like a lot of good comedy, exploring, again, being really meta and exploring like otaku and idol sort of parasocial interactions and culture, and attracting that fan base, but also commenting on it in a weird way, but also, you know, from an authentic place, really enjoying that. So that's its own kind of thing. And then we got this, which is like a psychological thriller mystery thing, but also has a lot of comedy and is lighthearted, but is tackling really serious shit in a lighthearted way. So it's like it's a very mature, but not in the same way that Vinland Saga is mature. It's like there's a spread across the board, and it's like we're being spoiled this season for shit. And then we also got Konosuba coming back, which is full on comedy. Yeah. And you know,
it's like, I don't think that since we've started this channel, there has been this solid, like there just hasn't been this solid a season. And the thing is it's not like we're reacting to so many seasonals right now, and there's still other ones that are being recommended to us. There's other ones that even I'm interested in that I just like read the synopsis about. I'm like, oh, this sounds so great. And there's I always pronounce it wrong. The
Insomnia.
No, there's that one. That was one that I was interested in. But the season 2 of
what's the show about?
It's I think the English is like Over the Moon for You.
Oh yeah, Tony Kaku. Yeah.
And like there's season 2 of that, which I remember we had wanted to I had wanted to watch in season 1. So, and there's like Dr. Stone, which we were interested in watching at some point. So it's just like, it's like, what?
I think it was in like January this year, or like the winter season a couple seasons ago. That was what was going on there. It was also like insane. When Chainsaw Man was coming out, and Attack on Titan, not Demon Slayer.
But like this specifically, the fact that it is so diverse and so
the diversity is what it is.
It's like, it's not like, oh, I have like 3 of the same shonen at once.
Yeah. Cool.
Or I have like I have Kaguya and I have, I don't know.
And we still have Boruto to get back to. And that started up again. Sasuke finally got away from that raptor, and now the story can really start.
But it's like, and the fact that what I'm really liking is that all of this different stuff is all so popular. Like all of these shows are popping off at the same time.
And they're all good.
And they're all so good. It's like what people have finally realized what good anime is.
It's kind of crazy.
And it's crazy because normally when people are like, oh, you have to watch this, it's like some Tokyo Revengers bullshit where it's just like, we're just like, this isn't actually good. You're just hyped up about it. But
Yeah.
every show so far, in my opinion, has lived up to like the exact amount of hype that we were told about it. You know what I mean?
I've been pleasantly surprised by everything except for Hell's Paradise, which I was.
People were saying
it's still really good, and I'm glad to be watching it. But it's the only one that didn't like blow me out of the water. It's still good and did like meet my expectations. But everything else has been exceeding my expectations and like really surprised me with
and like this
the quality.
too, like with this episode, I feel like totally changed the show, or like it kind of seemed like it narrowed in on what the show is like going to be talking about.
Yeah,
and I loved it. So
I really love it. Yeah, it's sick. Can't wait to see the next episode. We're gonna stop for the binge for tonight, but hope you enjoyed.
Bye-bye.
Check out Patreon to see the next 2 episodes before episode 5 comes out on Saturday. Leave a like and subscribe. See you guys tomorrow for the next episode, or right now on Patreon if you want to check that out. Bye-bye.